This is Bishop's Castle, which was built by one man over 40 years and is surrounded by a bunch of sketchy looking wire scaffolding. And this is Weldon Springs Interpretive Center, a 7-story high mound of nuclear waste that you can hike to the top of. And this is the Mystery Hole, this place in the mountains of West Virginia that supposedly defies gravity. And this is a roadside attraction of roadside attractions here in small town USA, Lucas, Kansas. As suggested by its name, this is a museum of all of the world's largest roadside attractions shrunken down into their smallest version and packed into this expo. But anyways, I am currently on a road trip across the country from California to Maryland, living out of the back of my van, checking out some of the coolest roadside attractions that America has to offer. And I figured, what better place to start than somewhere that has miniature versions of all of them. No one's in here. It's so quiet, but grab a brochure. So prior to having this showroom in Kansas, they actually traveled the country in a series of mobile museum and trunk shows and circus wagons showing all of these different displays to everyone around the country. And now they have this big shop. It's only right center name with the world's largest pencil. And then you go check out some of the displays. Starting off with this fully playable miniature mini golf course. They've also got a bunch of different things that are the world's smallest versions of the world's smallest things, like a miniature version of the world's largest prairie dog, world's largest hairball, kind of gross, world's largest concretolo, not sure what that means. Pretty cool little store they got going on here. Randy's Donuts, world's largest pickled egg, weighs over 5 pounds. Where else are you gonna see that? Carhenge, world's largest ball of gum that was apparently halted in 2019 for obvious reasons. Doesn't seem very sanitary. Some creepy things in here, and it is a little bit off-putting that nobody's in here. They've got this music playing and there's some creepy things in the back here. Definitely is pretty interesting, and I figured no better place to start the series of checking out America's coolest road shows than the place that has all of them. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be in here. It says it's open, but there's nobody in here, so I think it's time to head out, hit the road out of the beautiful Lucas, Kansas, in small town USA, and make our way over to our first stop on our trip, the center of the known world. But I'm not going to spend too much time here because I already posted a video going in depth on this entire place, but essentially it's the center of the world that this guy built in Southern California, and it's really weird. And that's it. So yeah, that was the center of the world for you. The next thing that we're stopping at isn't just anything, it's the thing. So I'm not really sure what the thing is, but whoever owns it definitely has a monopoly on the desert billboard business, because I drove by about 100 of them on the way here. Each of which with their own cryptic message like a sight to behold, mystery of the desert, which obviously worked because here I am at the museum. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited because of how hyped up this place was. This is it. This is the thing. Just kidding. This is just the gift shop. You gotta buy a ticket to go see the thing. How's it going?
Hi.
I just get one ticket to the thing?
Sure.
I'm already impressed. Look at that. Not gonna lie. I did expect a lot less. I am the only person in here though. Not a single other person. When I walked in, they gave me this pamphlet that gives you like a whole timeline of all of the different things and stories and all the different theories of where the thing came from. I'm guessing that's what we're walking through. We're walking through a timeline of events that lead us to the thing. I don't know what that is, but there's a couple of them. Weird looking wooden creatures surrounded by a bunch of tractors and wagons. So this is it. This is the full story of the thing. Prepare to be amazed as you discover the mystery of the desert. I'm guessing it's through this door. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed. This is like the least gimmicky roadside attraction I've ever seen in my life. It's pretty creepy in here. So this is where the thing lies, in that little coffin in there. Ancient artifact discovered deep in the copper mines of Arizona. This is what it would have looked like when it was discovered, but it says we may never know. There she is, or he, or it. Looks like a mummified something. I don't really know what that is. It's got a head, a body, a little kid with it too. There you go. That is your answer for what the thing is.
So what'd you think?
It was great.
Good,
That was pretty cool. Definitely can't leave the gift shop without getting my girlfriend something. Perfect. Grow your own giant Joshua tree. All right, we've got our gifts. Time to head to the next spot. Oh, don't worry, I got you. So we have officially made it to our next stop. And if you're wondering where we are in the beautiful state of Colorado, just south of Denver, outside of the town of Rye, going to check out one of the, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen online and what I can see right now, coolest roadside attractions America has to offer. And that is Bishop's Castle, but you can see people all the way up top there in that little geodome. This place was all built by one man over 40 years. And it's completely free to enter. One, because it's super dangerous, so if they charged anyone anything, they'd probably be liable for anyone who hurts themselves. So in order to make themselves not liable, you don't have to pay to enter. The builder, his name is right there, Jim Bishop. And as I said, he built it over the course of 60 years. The front gate is pretty cool. Little bridge going across right there. And it is constantly under construction, so there's kind of stuff laying around all over the place. But there she is right there in all of her glory. Bishop's Castle. And dragon up there is pretty cool. And it looks like this thing right here is some sort of elevator contraption, but I don't know. So let's head up these sketchy stairs that are extremely steep and very small and go check it out. This place is so cool. Oh, these are the tiniest little stairs ever. My feet barely fit on them. Alrighty. So when you first walk up the stairs, this is the first room you enter, which is like the main chapel area. And apparently they actually have weddings up here, which is pretty cool. But when you have a wedding, the only rule is you can't close off the castle, so technically anyone could come and just kind of wedding crash. But this place is pretty magnificent. That's nice. Oh, this is so terrifying. Walking along this metal grate. This place is built like a maze. And now we're gonna go to the top. Man, these things just keep going. All right, just a little bit further. This is so absolutely crazy. We've made it to the top of this geodome, and this whole thing is shaking pretty bad, which is terrifying. My heart is racing so much, but I made it to the top. Taking the views for a second. Pretty spectacular. And then let's head back down because I do not want to stay up here any longer than I need to. It is shaking so much. I don't know if you guys can see it. And now we're going onto the stairway to nowhere, according to the little script right there. But this thing is probably the scariest part because if you look at what's holding it up, it's just a bunch of welded together metal scaffolding on the other side. This is absolutely terrifying. And this is shaking a lot too. I'm gonna get off here. Like, look at that, that is ridiculous. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I was genuinely shaking up there. I'm not really that afraid of heights. I used to be when I was a kid, but not so much anymore. But typically I can justify it to myself when I'm up at high places that it's built with safety in mind and it's built structurally sound, and I can't justify it to myself that way here. Because although it feels safe, probably isn't any regulations making it so. That is pretty much it. That is the tour that I'm gonna give you guys of Bishop's Castle, because I'm not heading up into that tower because I've had enough heights and rickety scaffolding. I think this might be the coolest roadside attraction I've ever been to. And pretty spectacular views all around too. Let's go see what they got in the gift shop. The steps are so tiny. You have to walk sideways down them. My foot barely fits on halfway on one of these steps. Bunch of cool stuff in here. Could get myself some self-defense weapons for the van. Alright, so I just got myself some stickers. Sorry, there's some guy who's doing wood carvings over there, but I'm also kind of hungry, so I'm gonna grab a hot dog from the stand. Check out a few more things before we head out of here. So I found a nice spot here under the castle to enjoy my plain hot dog, cherry icy. I didn't have any cash, so I couldn't donate, so I figured might as well support somehow. But down here, it looks like it's mostly unfinished, at least compared to the top. I will say, if you're the adventurous type and you're somewhere near Colorado, definitely worth the stop. And actually, here's a scale model of, I think, what it, I guess, was supposed to look like. Some little mini organs in there. The bridge actually connecting to another tower and not just rickety scaffolding. But one of other cool roadside attractions to see on our drive across country. Still got 20 hours left from here in Colorado back to Maryland. So I'll catch you guys at the next spot. So, after 12 hours of driving, 3 states, and 1 truck stop shower, we have finally made it to our next site. And I have been driving like an absolute madman to make it across the country in time. And I still haven't done my dishes, so I will get those done eventually, but just not today. And the spot we are currently at is Weldon Springs Interpretive Center, a 7-story high mound of nuclear waste and other toxic chemicals that you can hike to the top of. And in the 1950s and 60s, this was actually a uranium processing factory, which produced a lot of hazardous waste along with the other things that they made like TNT and dynamite and a lot of other things for World War II. And as with many other things at the time, safety really wasn't a #1 priority. Some workers even recounted handling radioactive material with their bare hands and spilling radioactive dust on themselves. There were even reports when this wasn't a giant mound of stone and was actually a pit, that those pits would fill up with rainwater and weird looking frogs would appear at the edge of the pit. As a matter of fact, I think I see one right there. What is that? And this mound that I'm standing on, and I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to appreciate the absolute scale of this thing. It's massive and 7 stories up of just piled rock on top of this field. But it wasn't actually built until the 1980s when this site was declared a Superfund site, which basically means that the government stepped in to clean up and dispose of, and I guess just cover all of the radioactive waste that was left behind. This giant mound was their solution. It's technically called a disposal cell, but I'm just gonna call it a nuclear coffin because it's kind of shaped like one, and that's kind of what it feels like. But this kind of gives you an idea of what the site is and the different components of the cell. And supposedly this giant mound will keep the residents in the area safe, but there are still concerns, at least from what I found online, of people in the area that are worried about potential ground leaks and it getting into the water supply around the area, especially with a water tower being that close to this area. But anyways, I thought this was really cool. I wanted to check this out on my trip, and I wanted to get here earlier in the day because I also want to make it to another site before the sun sets tonight that is 5 hours away. So let's head over there.
I travel a little further and I take the next exit. That's where I ended up, face to face with a pheasant. I thought to myself, this is so inopportune. So when I turned around and I saw the talking moon.
Good morning. So, we didn't make it to the next spot yesterday. It ended up taking a little bit longer than I had thought it would to get there. We are somewhere in a parking lot in western Kentucky. Hopefully get to our last 2 stops.
Well, last night we stayed at this Huck's Market gas station. Never been to a Huck's before. First time staying at one. Breakfast secured. Let's go make it to our next spot.
Oh yeah, be sure to check out that gift shop on your way out. And take home a souvenir from your favorite motorized museum. You'll be amazed. You'll be...
All right, we have made it to our second to last stop on our trip, and that is the Kentucky Stonehenge. And the reason I wasn't able to make it here yesterday on time is because we made a pit stop at another roadside attraction, and that is this. The world's largest ketchup bottle. So this gigantic ketchup bottle on this tower, on this indiscriminate side street just outside of St. Louis, was built in 1949 as a water tower to supply water to the Brooks Ketchup Company. So that's pretty much it. This thing was an hour out of my way to come here. But now that we're here, this Stonehenge is a scale replica of the original and much larger Stonehenge in England, which nobody knows what it really is, but the leading theory is that it's some sort of temple that's aligned with the movement of the sun, as you can see by this compass type thing that's engraved on this stone. But in reality, who really knows? I personally think that aliens made it, just like they made the pyramids. And the reason that these gigantic rocks are just here in some guy's backyard is because this guy Chester Fryer was online one day and he was looking at pictures, and a picture of the Stonehenge came up on his computer, and he thought to himself, yeah, I could definitely build that. And then he did in his backyard, and now he lets people come out and check it out and just kind of park in his driveway. And it's so strange how America just has a random Stonehenge in the middle of Kentucky on some guy's property, along with just a bunch of other stone sculptures all throughout this guy's yard. But honestly, even with this being a scale model, it's actually pretty big. I mean, I'm 6 foot tall and it's at least 2 feet over my head. Other than that, there's really not much to it. Just a bunch of stones in this guy's front yard that look pretty cool. That's it. That is Kentucky Stonehenge. And now I think it's time to head to our final spot of the trip. All right, we've made it to our next spot in the Appalachian Mountains, just off the side of this road. And that spot is the Mystery Hole in West Virginia. So when you're driving up the side of this mountain, there's really nothing for the entire time until you reach this weird corrugated cylindrical hut that has a sign that says, "See the unbelievable Mystery Hole." Wow. And then this crashed buggy and a bunch of other weird things sticking out the side of it. Like this guy right here. This is the Beer Wolf, which I think is a Coors Light ad or something from back in the 80s, but he's holding this weird rat. But yeah, it's a very weird looking place. And it's even more mysterious than it is weird, because you are not allowed to film on the inside of this place because of how secretive and mysterious it is. So unfortunately, I won't be able to take you guys inside. That's one of their very strict rules, is that you cannot record from inside. But I am going to go in there and see what it's all about and then report back after. All right, so just got out of the mystery hole. I do want to respect the sanctity of this beautiful roadside attraction by not telling too much other than what you can kind of already find out online. But essentially, once you go in, you walk through this door, you go into this little hole. It's not really a hole, but gravity stops working. So you'll see things like balls roll uphill, you'll sit in floating chairs, and there's all of these cool optical illusions that are kind of going on in this basement vibe looking area that they walk you into, and genuinely it was pretty cool. So if you are in the area, I would recommend stopping by and checking it out. It's definitely got that old roadside attraction vibe to it, and overall I think it's a pretty cool spot. It's quirky and it's cool and it's unique in its own type of way. You won't really find another spot like this. I think there are other spots in the country that have a similar vibe to the mystery hole, where you kind of go in, balls roll uphill, you stand on angles and it looks like you're standing vertical, and all of these different things that are kind of just clever ways to trick your mind. But with all that being said, it is pretty cool and I would recommend going. I think that is the last spot on our road trip all the way across America, from California, starting at the center of the world, to here on the top of some random mountain in West Virginia, checking out the mystery hole. So as always, I truly appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, think about clicking that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. I think the only thing left for me is to go home and see the #1 attraction in my life, my girlfriend, because I haven't seen her in a while. So I will catch you guys next time.